Hello friends, how are you? Hope you enjoyed the previous video of the Mauryan Empire and the Mahajanpad. Today I am coming up with a small video on Kautilya's Arthashastra and one of the most important books, Megasthenes Indica. As the name suggests, Megasthenes Indica was being written by Megasthenes, one of the Greek ambassadors in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. So let's begin with today's session. Again, today's session is most important session because here I am going to discuss beautiful concepts in Kautilya's Arthashastra like the Saptanga theory, the Mandal theory, which is relevant even today in the current international geopolitics. So without wasting any more time, let's begin with today's session. Megasthenes Indica. Now before I begin with Megasthenes Indica, let me give you a brief description about Megasthenes. Megasthenes was a Greek ambassador in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. He was born around 350 BC and he served as a minister in the court of Seleucus Nicator. As I've talked about Seleucus Nicator in the Mauryan Empire, I'll repeat certain few points. It is believed that when Alexander the Great attacked India and when he was going back to his country, he redistributed the territories among his loyal governors, and one among them was Seleucus Nicator. Later on, Seleucus Nicator was being defeated by Chandragupta Maurya. And finally, it is believed that Chandragupta Maurya captured the region of Kabul, Kandahar, Herat and Balochistan. In fact, Seleucus Nicator even married his daughter Helen to Chandragupta Maurya, and Chandragupta Maurya gave in return a gift of 500 elephants to Seleucus Nicator. Now, Seleucus Nicator was actually interested in maintaining diplomatic relations with Chandragupta Maurya. And for this, he sent one of his ambassadors, one of his ministers in the court of Chandragupta Maurya. Chandragupta Maurya's court specifically was adorned by Megasthenes, who wrote a beautiful book called as Indica, which gives a vivid description of Indian society prevalent at that time. It is believed that Megasthenes, before reaching Patliputra, he visited many other places, like he reached the region of Peshawar through Kabul, and then he followed the Shahi Sadak, which is also referred as the Grand Trunk Road, or Sadak-e-Azam, which was referred during the medieval period. So from Kabul he reached to Peshawar, and from Peshawar he moved on to the Grand Trunk Road, that was Shahi Sadak, and he visited different places like Takshashila, Hastinapur, Mathura, Prayagraj, that is Allahabad, and finally reached to Patliputra. Now, this Grand Trunk Road, for your kind information guys, the Grand Trunk Road, its original name was Shahi Sadak during the ancient period. During the medieval period, it was called as Sadak-e-Azam. And the name Sadak-e-Azam was given by Sher Shah Suri. Whereas, during the era of the Britishers, it was referred as the Grand Trunk Road. And the name was given by Lord Auckland. Finally, Megasthenes reached Patliputra. As he reached Patliputra, now initially he had a connotation, or simply we can say in the Greek world, there was a different connotation about India. And they had certain misconceptions about India. Like one misconception was that then Indian culture is quite associated with Ethiopian culture. But when he came to India, he saw something different. And now it is believed that he was welcomed by the people of India. He was also welcomed by the ruler Chandragupta Maurya. And here he wrote a vivid description about India. Like initially in the Greek world, there was a wrong connotation, or there was a misconception that India, it's a landlocked country. Okay, but that was not true. And Megasthenes, when he visited different parts of India, it is believed that he came to know that India is not a landlocked country. In fact, India is surrounded by water bodies from different sides. Like in the southern, we have Indian Ocean. We have what we say Arabian Sea. We have Bay of Bengal. So this wrong connotation got justified now. Specifically, it is believed that when he came to India, he saw the Mauryan society. And he mentioned about the condition of the society at that time in his book Indica. He said that the ruler Chandragupta Maurya was quite generous. Indian people were very happy people. To an extent, they were short-tempered. He gave an exaggerated statement that there was an absence of slavery in India at that time. Okay, but this might be an exaggerated statement. Okay, there have been no famine in India so far. Again, a second exaggerated statement, because as we have discussed previously, during the reign of Chandragupta Maurya, there was famine in India. Correct? So, as per him, there was absence of famine in India. India is a quadrilateral shaped country. Here, it is said that there is 2 crop cycle per year. Means people cultivate more than 2 crops within a year. Okay. Now, he also gave a wonderful example about an gold eating ants in India. I'll give you a small example here. Now, he observed an ant in the region of Kashmir, and it is believed that that ant was referred as gold eating ants. Just a second. He observed one ant which is called as gold eating ant, and that ant was of the size of a fox, and that ant was bred by the people of Kashmir, particularly the Derdai tribe of Kashmir. So he also mentions about the gold eating ants in his book Megasthenes Indica. Okay, he has mentioned about the Indian elephants. Now, one fine day, he was very astonished and he asked Chandragupta Maurya, how such mighty elephants? Okay, and how come you can control these mighty elephants, or how can you tame these mighty elephants? So he showed him the live example, wherein Chandragupta Maurya was standing on a higher pedestal and a big ditch or a pit was dug. Elephant was taken into that, that ditch, and the elephant was lured by attractive food. In that manner, elephants could be easily tamed. So Megasthenes in his book Indica mentions that, in fact, the Mauryan army consisted of elephants apart from the, cavalrymen. So what a beautiful description that he gave. One more example I'll give you, as I've told you about the gold eating ants that was mentioned by Megasthenes in his book Indica. Okay, and that was bred by Derdai tribe of Kashmir. This also finds mention in chapter 51 of Sabha Parv of Mahabharata. Okay, as per Megasthenes, Indian society was divided into 7 classes. My friends, I have used the word classes, not caste, because class is on the basis of economic status. And these 7 classes are philosophers or the Brahmins. They were exempted from payment of any kind of taxes. Herdsmen, peasants or the farmers or the cultivators, artisans or the businessmen, soldiers who were the part of the army, councillors and the magistrate who were the part of Mantri Parishad as well. So here he has given a vivid description about India at that time. In fact, he said that Indian elephants are stronger than Libyan elephants. He saw animals like tiger in India for the first time. He saw animals like rhinoceros in India for the first time. And it is believed that whatever it has been mentioned in Megasthenes Indica, we have got it from the writings of various Greek philosophers or Greek writers like Arrian. Apart from that, Pliny, Diodorus, because the original copy of Megasthenes Indica has been lost. Okay. He also talked about the animal species that I have told you. He talked about the spy system at that time. There was presence of widow remarriage. Criminal law was very severe. Okay. Although he came during the reign of Mauryan Emperor Chandragupta Maurya, but we have discussed previously, because after Chandragupta Maurya, there was the reign of Bindusar. And after Bindusar, there was a reign of Ashoka, one of the mightiest rulers, not only of the Mauryan Empire, but also of the entire ancient India. Correct? And I've told you previously that Ashoka was a very, to an extent, he was a short-tempered personality. If any crime has been done against women, okay, a special officer was being appointed by Ashoka, okay, to take care of the safety of the women. And that officer was referred as Ithijika Mahamatra. I repeat, Ithijika Mahamatra. So in that case, if any crime has been done against the women, or if any crime of sedition has been done against the government, that person was punished heavily. Death penalty was the ultimate thing. And criminal law was very severe during the Mauryan period, as mentioned by Megasthenes in his book Indica. So this was the description of Megasthenes Indica. Okay, original copy of Megasthenes Indica has been lost. We have learnt about India's description in Megasthenes Indica through the fragments or through the literature written down by Arrian, Diodorus, Pliny, and so on. So this was a description of India in Megasthenes Indica. Got it? Let's move on with another important book called as Arthashastra. Arthashastra. The first thing that will crop up in the mind of every aspirant when the word Arthashastra comes, that it is a book on economics. True. But more than economics, it is a political statecraft. Entire Arthashastra, it is divided into 15 books or 15 parts or 15 adhikarnas, which has 150 chapters. 180 topics are covered in Arthashastra. Book 1 to 5 deals with the internal administration of the government. Book 6 to 13 deals with the external administration. And 14 and 15 book or 14th and 15th Adhikarna deals with different aspects of the administration apart from internal and external. The book comprises of 6,000 shlokas. And it is believed that in 1909, the book was translated into German language by Jacobin. Now, this Arthashastra, it is also considered as the first book on geopolitics. Now, let's understand how this book is considered as the first book on geopolitics in short. So, as I have told you, Arthashastra comprises of 15 adhikarnas, 6,000 shlokas, 380 karikas, 150 chapters, and more than 180 topics are covered in Arthashastra. And the basis of Arthashastra majorly are Mandal theory and Saptanga theory. Let's have a glimpse of them. Now, Kautilya's Arthashastra, I am here covering the major topics. As per Arthashastra, there are 34 departments. Okay? And basically, if we see about the 34 departments, first I'll start with Saptanga theory and then I'll move to the Mandal theory. Okay. Saptanga theory. Saptanga theory, it's a part of Mandal theory. What is Saptanga? Break this etymology into two parts. Sapt, Ang. Sapt means 7. Ang means limbs. 7 parts of the administration. Correct? And that is Saptanga theory. And what are the 7 parts of the administration? The 7 parts of the administration are Swami, Amatya, Janpad, Durg, Dand, Kosh and Mitra. Now, before I begin with this, let me tell you a beautiful context or Kautilya's maxim in Arthashastra. And what is that? Praja sukhe sukham rajya, prajanacham hite hitam. I repeat, Praja sukhe sukham rajya, prajanacham hite hitam. In the welfare and the happiness of the people or subjects lies the welfare and the happiness of the ruler. So it is a prime duty of the Swami or the Rajan to work for the welfare of his subjects. The Rajan needs to be strong. Why? Because even if there are certain weak elements in the administration and if the Rajan is disciplined and strong, all these weak elements will get converted into strong elements with the passage of time. Plus, the king is assisted in performance of his duties by ministers. And these ministers needs to be loyal ministers, skillful ministers. Apart from that, experienced ministers. Like Chanakya, also referred as Kautilya or Vishnugupta, was a minister in the court of Chandragupta Maurya, and various historical sources also suggest that he was also the prime minister, or he also served as the prime minister for his son Bindusar. So ministers play a very crucial role as a part of Saptanga theory. Janpad, territory. It is a responsibility of the people. It is a responsibility of the king and the ministers to serve the Janpad, to take care of the territory. Now, I'll give you a small example about the Patliputra. Like I forgot to tell you in Megasthenes Indica, this point cropped up my mind just now. Like Megasthenes has mentioned about the city of Patliputra in a very beautiful manner. He said that the city of Patliputra, it is basically 15 kilometers long and 3 kilometers wide. The city of Patliputra is surrounded by ditch from all the side, which is 45 feet deep and 900 feet wide. Throughout the city of Patliputra, one can have a glimpse of 570 watchtowers, and there are 64 gates for entry into the city of Patliputra. So Janpad basically means territory, and how you protect the territory, it's a prime responsibility of Swami and what we say Amatya. Then comes the first thing, Durg. Durg here means forts. How to protect one's country through development of forts. And Arthashastra mentioned different kinds of forts. Example, Jaladurg, where a fort is surrounded by natural or artificial water body from all the side, so that before entering into the fort, enemy has to dive into the water body, and they can be easily traced by the whom? The ruler and his soldiers. Antardweep Durg, simple words, a fort constructed on an island. Giri Durg. Giri Durg is a fort which is constructed in the valley or summit of a hill. Correct? One Durg. One, as the name suggests, the fort constructed in the forest. So all these kinds of forts are mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Dand. Dand here does not means punishment. Dand here means Balasena. Dand here means army. The stronger the army of the ruler, the stronger is the ruler. As I had given you the example of Chandragupta Maurya initially, you can just imagine he had 6 to 6.5 lakh infantry, 9,000 war elephants, 1,000 chariots, 30,000 cavalrymen. Such a huge army of Chandragupta Maurya. And that army continuously kept on expanding. Now, let me tell you one important concept of what is organic state. Listen to me very carefully. The prime responsibility of the ruler is to continuously follow the policy of imperialism. How? This is based on the concept of geopolitics. And what does geopolitics says? State is like a living organism. Correct? And for a living organism to grow, it needs to be fed something. So, to sustain, to survive, the organism has to grow. If the organism has to grow, it has to expand. And if the organism does not expand, it will perish. Correct? Can you imagine Darwin's theory, survival of the fittest? It was given later on, but it is mentioned, this political theory of what we say, this political theory is mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra way back around 3rd century BC. Correct? Then, Dand here basically means army. And the most important, Arthashastra, Shastra means science, Arth means money. The most powerful asset of the ruler is treasury. And king here needs to maintain diplomatic relations with his neighboring kingdoms. And what kind of diplomatic relations he needs to maintain? As I've explained these concepts, like different kinds of mitra, or how to maintain mitrata or diplomatic relations. First is sandhi. Now what will happen under sandhi? Let me give you an example. Making peace with a strong king. Suppose you are a ruler, I am a ruler. I am not that strong in comparison to you. For my betterment, I will make a treaty with you. Sandhi. Vigraha. I am a strong ruler and my neighbor is not a strong ruler. Now I won't attack him, but I will continuously keep a deterrence in his mind so that he won't plan to attack on me. That is Vigraha. Asan and Yan, keeping quiet. Never ever initiate a war. And when the war is initiated, destroy the other ruler. Yan. I'll give you a small example. Asan and Yan can also be compared with our present day LOC, what we can say. Like for example, we have borders with Pakistan. So to keep a deterrence in the mind of Pakistan, we have deployed the Indian military on the borders. Correct? So what is Asan? We are keeping quiet. But if you initiate a battle, we won't back down. We will destroy you. Yan. Sanashray. Seeking shelter with the other ruler. Okay? For example, I'm not that powerful. But in that case, what will happen? I'll seek shelter with some other ruler who is equivalently powerful to you because you are not going to attack him. Sanashray. And Dvaidi Bhav, making alliances with different rulers. So this is how one maintains a diplomatic relations with the others. Point clear? Any query, any doubt, any question, please feel free to ask. So this theory, it is called as Saptang theory. So what are the different elements of Saptang theory? Swami, Amatya, Janpad, Durg means fort. Different Durg that I have explained to you. Jaladurg, Antar Dweep Durg, Giri Durg, Van Durg, Nar Durg, and so on. Kosh, treasury, Mitra. Now let me tell you about the Mandal theory. Context of the Arthashastra. Try and understand most important aspect. Neighbor is a natural enemy. First thing that you have to realize. Neighbor is a natural enemy. Neighbor's neighbor is a natural friend. The more the distance, less the animosity. And all the friendships in international arena are just based on interest. That's it. This crux of Kautilya's Arthashastra you will also find mention in Sun Tzu's book Art of War. You'll also find this mention in a book called as 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. What a beautiful context given by Kautilya. See, neighbor is a natural enemy. Pakistan, China. Neighbor's neighbor is a natural friend. Greater the distance, lesser the animosity. And everything in the international arena depends on interest. That's why Kautilya's Arthashastra is also referred as the first book on geopolitics. Correct? Now, this is called as Mandal theory. Pay attention carefully. In Mandal theory, here we have 12 aspects. Okay? What is Mandal? Mandal basically means spear. Mandal means chakra. Now, see, can you imagine how Kautilya might have thought at that time? And it came up with a beautiful theory. See, at the center is the king, also referred as Vijigishu. I repeat, Vijigishu. Let's move in the forward direction first. Okay. Immediately, the first thing what I've told you, neighbor is a natural enemy. So, Ari means what? Enemy. Neighbor's neighbor is a natural friend. Mitra, our ally. Correct? Suppose this is the king, this is the other king. So the other king, Ari, is the enemy of this king. And Mitra, he is the ally or a friend of this king. Similarly for Ari, he might be enemy and he might be the, what we say, friend. So first circle in the center, king. That is Vijigishu. He would be surrounded by his enemy. Then he would be surrounded by whom? His friend. Similarly, he would be enemy, what we say, his friend would be surrounded by Arimitra. What we say? Friend of enemy. Then comes Mitra, friend of friend. And then Mitra, friend of enemy's friend. Okay? So these are the 6 layers in the forward direction. There are 4 kings in this direction as well as backward direction. And there are certain states who maintain neutral status. They are referred as Udasin. Correct? Smallest example, Nepal. Nepal, basically, it is maintaining a what? Neutral status in that case, and Nepal is allowed to come into India. It is allowed to go into the China. Okay? And Madhyamas. Madhyamas means buffer. I repeat, Madhyamas basically means buffer. Like again, Nepal is acting as a buffer between India and China. True? But in that case, suppose Nepal sides with India because of certain unilateral aid. What will China do? China will not allow the Nepali people to come into their country. So that is Madhyamas. So these are 12 kind of rulers that have been mentioned in Mandal theory. What a beautiful theory given by whom? Chanakya. Correct? So Mandal theory and Saptanga theory. Hope the point is clear. Okay? Now let's move. Now 4 enemies of the king. Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Harsh. Lust. Excessive desire for physical pleasures is one of the greatest enemy of the ruler. Krodh, excessive anger can destroy the ruler. Lobh, excessive greed can destroy the ruler. And Harsh, excessive overjoy can destroy the ruler. So it is always suggested by Kautilya that one should not be overjoyed by success and disheartened by failure. Correct? Because the qualities of the king needs to be nurtured by the king. And so basically it is said that this is Kam, Krodh, Lobh and Harsh. There are 3 types of ruler. Lobh Vijay, Dharma Vijay and Asur Vijay. Now let's understand what are these 3 kind of rulers. Dharma Vijay. For example, I am a ruler. I have defeated my opponent. After defeating my opponent, what will I do? Now that person is ready to accept my suzerainty. I will forgive him and return him his kingdom back. Dharma Vijay. Lobh Vijay. In that case, what will happen? I am a greedy ruler. I have defeated that ruler. And now I will put a condition in front of him. If you want your life to be spared, surrender your kingdom to me. Lobh Vijay. Asur Vijay. I will not only take the kingdom but also kill the ruler. Asur Vijay. So Kautilya Arthashastra connotes that the ruler should always be Dharma Vijay. Okay? Apart from this, if we see Dharma Vijay, Lobh Vijay and Asur Vijay. Okay? So apart from this, there are battle formations also mentioned in Kautilya's Arthashastra. Like apart from the strong army, you need to have different views. Mandal view, Padma view. Okay. Apart from this, Chakra view. You might have heard or you might have seen the scenes of Mahabharata. Abhimanyu, son of Arjuna, was killed by whom? Jayadratha, through Chakra view. So Kautilya's Arthashastra is treasure house for many things. Correct? And the most important treasure house is Saptanga theory. Secondly, is another important theory, that is Mandal theory. And the Saptanga theory, it's a part of Mandal theory. So, Kautilya's Arthashastra, it is not only a book on economics, but it is a political statecraft. Guys, hope you understood a small synopsis on Kautilya's Arthashastra and Megasthenes' Indica. Hope you got to learn something new. And these terminologies to an extent are important in the examination. Very soon, I'll be coming up with a video on Buddhism. Please also follow History Through Stories. Like we have a different playlist on StudyIQ IAS English. Here, there is a history. That is, I narrate a story almost of 4 to 5 minutes. And here we get to learn new aspects in a format of story. So it is nothing but story, fact and concept. Okay guys, So I'll stop my words for the day. See you and thank you.